Oh my god, I look crazy right now. I can't even take myself seriously. Hi guys, what is up? It's Aisling. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today is Friday, my favorite day of the week. I'm so happy today because it's just a great day. It's Friday and the sun is shining and I don't know, it's just March now and I'm just very happy. Today I'm going to be doing how I used to do my makeup versus how I do my makeup now. And I thought this video was going to be something fun. I have an itchy eyebrow. This video is not to offend anyone. If you do your makeup this way and you know you're happy with it, great. I'm not saying that these techniques are wrong. It's just how I used to do my makeup 12 months ago or even 9 months ago, whereas versus how I do it now. I'm not saying I'm never going to go back to this, but this is just what I'm sporting at the moment. Also, I have a crooked eyelash, so please don't come for me over the eyelash. It's crooked, I know. I tried to stick it down about 4 times and I feel like I've made a mess and now my eye is hurting. So bear that in mind whilst you're looking at the crooked eyelash. It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be nicer. I'll explain about the lash later. Anyway, one of my subscribers requested this on my community tab. If you guys want to request any makeup tutorials or videos or anything like that, you're always welcome to, and I will take your suggestions. And what I want to do is, if there's any suggestions that you have, the more people that thumbs it up, at the end of the week I'll have a look through them and then I will plan to film those videos coming up because I know they're like the most requested. Leave your requests and thumbs up any other requests that you do like to see. The other thing I do want to say is about this makeup, it's mostly got to do with like my day-to-day life and when I am putting makeup on or if I'm going out. This is not like makeup for like casual wear or like if I'm popping to the shops. I'm not wearing makeup generally for daily errands, and this is like, it's either all or nothing with me and you guys know that. So this is just when I'm putting makeup on, this is exactly how I like to do it now versus how I used to do it. I do explain in the tutorial that the eyes change all the time. Like I change my eye routine day to day. Like some days I'm like, yeah, I want like a big bright blue eye, and then the next day I'm like, no, more neutral, and then I'm like, I want big lashes, and then I want small lashes. Anyway, I have blabbed on for so long in this intro. Let's get into the how I used to do my makeup versus how I do it now. Do this side of how I do my makeup now and this side of how I used to do my makeup. So let's start with primers. If you guys are new here, you may not know, but I am a massive fan of the drugstore, and a lot of my products that I do use on a day-to-day basis are drugstore and affordable, and I'm not picky. As long as the product works really well for me, I don't care about the price. If it's a good product, it's a good product. So the way I used to do my makeup would be more of a matte base. I loved a more matte finish, definitely more full coverage. I would say definitely a little bit more heavier, but I would always take a mattifying or pore minimizing primer. Now I still use this primer, but it's just not my vibe. ATM. This is a brilliant primer though. This is from Essence, and like I said, it's a pore minimizing primer. So I would obviously do what I do all the time, and that's just prime my entire face using this primer. Just to mention, I have oily skin. If you're not new here, you'll be sick to death of me saying that. And I used to think that I had to keep my oils at bay from my makeup products, whereas I've now discovered that it's all about your skincare routine. So for me, using the right skincare works way better than trying to fix problems with my makeup. And I will do a whole skincare routine. I get a lot of requests for that as well. I'm going to go on to how I do my makeup now, which is I would always use a hydrating primer. I want something definitely more hydrating on the skin, something that gives my skin a bit of luminosity and something that keeps my skin looking radiant. So like I said earlier, the oil control is all done through skincare, not so much through makeup products. However, if something does make me super oily, I will not use it, and I usually let you guys know, and it usually tends to be a failed product for me because my skincare routine, I have it kind of pretty down to a T now. So I'm taking the tensational from Catrice. Wow, that was such a long-winded explanation there about oily skin. I take this primer because it is much more luminous and radiant, and it gives my skin a much more youthful effect. And I guess that's my whole thought process behind this new makeup routine. It just works way better on my skin. It just makes my skin look real fresh and definitely a lot more youthful. So now that the side is primed, you can kind of probably tell, I don't know if you can see on camera, but I can see in real life that this side is a lot more glowy and a lot more radiant. There's just a lot more freshness going on here than this one, which is quite matte. Again, that used to be my personal preference, but it just changes, and I'm not going to say that I'll never go back to this because I could at any moment. I'm going to move on to brows. I'm going to just like flicked all my hair at myself. I'm going to do how I do my brows now because it'll it just makes more sense because I don't do foundation first, I do my brows first. I know, shock horror, a lot of people probably think that's such a ridiculous step to do your brows first, and I used to be one of those people. I used to be like, oh my god, why would you do your brows first? I take my Precisely My Brow and I just fill in the brow, and what I usually do is I do short strokes and then I will brush the product through. And I've talked about this a few times. I will do short strokes and just fill in the brow, and then I will brush the product through, and I kind of do this over and over. Some of you might be looking at me going, that's crazy girl, that's so time consuming, but I just really like this technique. Fill in the brows, brush the product through, keep doing that until I'm happy with the way my brows have been filled in. Once they are filled in, I then take an extra step. I take this concealer palette. This is from Cinema Secrets. I absolutely adore this. It's in the shade number 1. It's the Ultimate Corrector 5-in-1 Pro palette. I'm going to take these 2 shades here and I'm just going to take them on a Sigma F75 brush, and I'm going to go around the top of my brow. Possibly not needed, but I just like this effect. I carve out my brows this way because when I put my foundation on, the brows seem to look more melted into my skin. I then take a concealer. The only reason I don't take the one from this is because I've used it all up, but generally I would take that one. But I'm just going to take a light concealer on the same brush. This one is from L'Oreal. It's the 24-hour concealer pomade in light, and I'm just going to go around the bottom of my brow, just underneath it. Wow, my brows are a hot mess at the moment. They really need to be plucked, waxed, tinted, whatever. And I just fill in the brow that way. And I take like a little sponge, that's just a Real Techniques one, and I just go around all that concealer and just blend it into the skin so that it is not harsh. So next up, we're gonna move on to foundation. I used to love a full coverage base. It was what I loved. The foundation I used to always take was the Conceal and Define from Makeup Revolution. It is a bit too full coverage. I feel it just kind of masks my skin, and that's not the look I'm going for. But I'm going to apply it on this side just to show you how I used to do. I used to just apply it like, now I know that the shades might look a bit funny because I mixed 2 together, but I would like a lot more full coverage. So once I apply it directly onto my face, I'll then take a beauty blender and then blend this bad boy out. And this foundation is ridiculously full coverage. Even looking at it on my skin now, it's so full coverage. I would never pick this up. I never really cared about my brows. I would kind of go around them, go through them. It didn't really bother me because I didn't fill them in like the way I do now. So I'm not really overly cautious with the brow. That foundation does look like velvet on my skin, but it's just super full coverage and just not what I'm looking for. And now, sticking with the same theme of the Makeup Revolution, I go in with the Conceal and Hydrate. Conceal and Hydrate would obviously be more suitable for people with drier skin, but I just find that this works so ridiculously well on my skin. The Conceal and Define keeps me matte, and this also keeps me matte because, again, it's all down to skincare. It's nothing to do with makeup products, I don't think. But there are certain foundations that will obviously make you a lot oilier. However, I will apply this to the back of my hand. I'll take a flat paddle brush. This is the F60 from Sigma. And I will paint my foundation onto my face lightly. So I'll just give it a light wash of colour. I hope these foundations are kind of close in colour, because if not, we're going to look crazy. And I will just like lightly wash this over my skin. I find that this is much easier to get around the nooks and crannies of my face as well. Get a much lighter application with it as well, because I like my natural little freckles and stuff popping through. I don't obviously want spots to come through, but if there are any spots or any areas, I will kind of conceal them. So now, once I've applied that foundation, I will then go in with my beauty sponge. So again, see, there's a lot of steps involved in this, a lot more than the way I used to do it, but it's worth the steps for me. So I'll take my beauty blender and I will bounce this on my skin. I think it was Makeup by Ariel that kind of gave me this routine, but I'm sticking with it since I discovered it, and it's just working well for me. Bounce the product all over my skin, and even when you think you have it blended in, I keep going. I know, crazy. It is crazy. And I still get a ton of coverage from this foundation, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as mask-like, and I just feel like the formula in the foundations I go for now are a little bit more hydrating, and if they're not hydrating, I'll just use a more hydrating primer. Now I would go in and do my brows. So again, I take the Precisely My Brow. I've used this for years, so that's nothing different, and I'll just fill in the brows. But what I used to do is I used to do a long stroke. Now I do like shorter strokes, and I would kind of just fill in the brow. It just would be a little bit thicker. It's just because the foundation's underneath it. It'd just be a little bit thicker and more blocky on my face because I was just filling the whole brow in. I wasn't filling little bits in with short strokes, brushing it through, and I'm crap at brows anyway, so the other technique just works better for me. And normally I would use concealer to kind of clean up the top here and just make it blend nicer into my skin. I just feel like it looks crazy. Anyway, I always set my brows. That's nothing new. So this is kind of where the brush used to come in on this side. And I'm taking the brow setter from Benefit and I just run that through my brow. That is nothing different on either side. So next up, I'm going to move on to cream. I would cream contour. I never used to do that. So what I take lately is this cream contour palette from NYX. Oh my god, I love this. Really love this. I'm going to take this shade here, which is the second one in, which is called Toffee. And I'm just taking it on this brush. I learned this technique from Scott Barnes. I'm going to apply that down my face here. Just a little bit. And before this product, I used to use my Chanel Tan de Soleil bronzer, which I still love it. It's just I'm nearly all out of it, so I'm kind of been very sparing with it. And I put a bit under here. So I just take my trusty old sponge and just blend that into the skin as well. I just love the effect of cream products on my skin. I just feel like they look way better on my skin. I just feel like it gives my skin a lot more of a fresher appearance. And I used to be terrified of creams because I used to think with oily skin that they were going to, like, it was going to break down quicker on my skin, or my oils were going to come through, or I wasn't as set. But I think it just works even better. Concealer is the one thing that hasn't really changed the way I use it or the way I apply it, or I don't think it has anyway, but I know I used to apply a lot more concealer, so I would obviously do this. Still kind of do that, but I would apply a lot more concealer back in the day. I still do it down my nose. I still put it on my chin. That's not changed. And I still put it over my lip. And I still put it in between my brows. However, on this side, I don't bring it out quite as far. I would leave it like more kind of under the eye, and I kind of bring it down. I don't think I bring it down as far. I think that's what it is. I just don't bring it down as far anymore as I used to. I used to bring it down a lot further than this. Let's get real here, girl. I used to bring that concealer like way down here. I think I used to bring it out that far. Like crazy amount of concealer. Don't need that amount of concealer anymore. The way that I would blend it out would be like to bring it all the way out nearly to my temple and then like down to my cheek. I used to apply a lot more concealer. I loved that under eye area, just really, really, really bright. And again, it would be like a full coverage concealer like this. So just a lot of concealer, a lot. Actually, I put a way too much of that on my chin. But because I'm using a lot more dewier, creamier products, I don't mind the extra coverage from it, but I probably don't need that much concealer on my chin now either. And I still do it in between my brows. But now I kind of keep it focused underneath the eye. I don't bring it out as far. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to switch up because I think a smaller sponge to blend. Pat it underneath my eye, and I don't bring it out quite out to my temple, and I don't bring it onto my cheek anymore or down that far. I just kind of keep it under the eye area. So how I set is a little bit different now. I used to take my MAC Mineralized Skin Foundation Light. I still do take this from time to time, but not all the time. But I used to apply a lot of that underneath my eye to brighten it up. This is quite a brightening light powder, as you can see. And I used to set all the way down here. Now I like to use this lace powder from Makeup Revolution, and I bake, which is very, very unusual. Never thought I would do that. So I take a little bit of that in the lid and just take a bit of it on a sponge, and I just apply it right underneath the eye. And I just leave it to bake. So while that's baking over here, I will tell you what I used to set my face with, which was always a pressed powder. Now again, it's not like something I don't do anymore, but I just don't do it as much. So I would take a pressed powder like this and set the rest of my face. Powder like this adds almost more coverage and more product, and it just kind of makes my skin a lot heavier. Really love that powder, and I still do use it. That's the Locket powder, but I just find that I prefer to set my face a different way now. I'm just going to brush off that bake. Just leave it because I use cream products, it has to be a translucent powder. I can't just go in with an all over face powder because sometimes it adds a bit of colour to it and sometimes it darkens up the contour, or sometimes it lightens up the contour, and I don't want to do that. So translucent powder all the way. I've nearly finished off my whole Laura Mercier in the last 12 months because of the way that I now apply my makeup. So I'll just take a little bit of that on the brush, and I use a brush like this. So I still love this brush, this Elf flat top brush. I still keep it in my makeup bag. I always will bring it everywhere with me, just for multiple different reasons. It's a great brush, but I like a brush like this now, which is the Luxie 522 tapered highlighting brush, and I just use that to set around my nose, set my chin, and then kind of like pat the product on those areas to set them. And I will mostly just pat over my contour just to kind of set it in place, and then just bring whatever's left down my cheeks. I just prefer the finish of this. It's still full coverage. Like, I'm still talking about like nighttime wear makeup or more full coverage days. Like, this is obviously a lot of a heavier makeup tutorial. It's not like day-to-day wear, because I just go with a BB cream or a little bit of concealer and I'm good to go. I don't really, it's either all or nothing with me. This is a lot softer, but I still have a little bit of moisture in it. I hope that makes sense. Whereas this side, there's like no moisture, there's no stick, there's no anything. We're quite matte. So now I am going to take a bronzer, and the way I used to bronze my skin was I would take my bronzer and I would just bronze everywhere. Bronze myself to the gods. I love bronzer. One of my favorite things. So I would just apply it along the contours of my face, bring it up around my temple and onto my forehead. And I just love being bronzed. Oh, it's so crazy. I love it. And even though I've cream contoured, I will go in with just a little bit of bronzer on a smaller brush. This is just a MAC 109. And I just take a little bit and kind of like tap the excess off my face, and I'll just, or off the back of my hand. I'll just kind of like tap over where the bronzer was, just to bring it back up to life, just if I lost any of the intensity of it from powders or whatever. And then I'll bronze just along my jawline, which I never really used to do. This next step is actually foreign to me because I have not done it in so long, and it would be to take a translucent powder, any sort of powder, and I would apply it underneath my bronzer here. I just wanted that more like severe bronzer where I would never do that now. I just wouldn't. It's just not my jam. So as that bake is kind of sitting on my cheek there whilst I've contoured, I'm going to take some blusher, and I don't really change my blushers up too often, but this one is Honeysuckle from KVD Vegan Beauty, and I absolutely love the colour of it. So without touching my bake, what I will do is I will take the blush just on a little brush like this, and what I usually do is I will smile, get the apples of my cheeks, and I will bring the blusher the whole way back here. So I like to have a nice bright cheek, and it looked a little bit severe. Whereas now what I do is I keep it on the apples of my cheeks, but instead of bringing it back, I bring it like up, almost underneath my eye. I know this looks kind of weird, but I just prefer the placement of the blush, and I just think it's a little less severe on my cheeks. I don't know if you guys can see that. And the final step that I haven't done in the longest time ever would be to apply a highlight. So I haven't done this in so long. The one I'm taking here is Rodeo Drive highlight from Ofra. I'm just going to take it on a brush like this, and what I used to do is I used to apply this to the tops of my cheeks just like that, which does look kind of crazy to me now since I don't do it at all anymore, over my brow, over my lip, and on my nose. So I just used to apply highlighter to all the high points of my face, and then I would just wipe off that bake down there and kind of blend everything into the skin. But I just feel like it's a lot of highlight and I'm just not used to it anymore, whereas I like to let my natural oils come through on this side, and I just prefer the effect of no highlight. I don't know why, I just prefer it. So I used to love a little bit more of a dramatic eye. I would definitely put a lot more black into my waterline, which I still do on occasion, but I just feel like it closes my eye a lot more. And I would do a lot more of black wing liner, which I still again do enjoy, but it's just not something I do very, very often now. Again, that would be like a look I would use a lot more on camera, whereas off camera and in my day-to-day life, I would use more of like a little angled brush, and I'd go in with like a brown shadow because I just find it's a little less severe. It's not as harsh, and I would do like the tiniest like little wing with it. I would literally press the brush onto my outer corner, just like do the tiniest little oops, wing. And I'd bring it like halfway in and then just a little bit on the lower lash line. And I go in with like a little blending brush and just blend it all out. So it would be really, really blown out and it would just be very soft. And then I'll take a brown pencil. So this one here is Catrice from MAC, and I will use that in my waterline instead because I just feel like brown is a lot less harsh. And then I'll just apply mascara like I always do. I'm just going to wait for the mascara to dry before I talk about lashes, but I'm just going to fill in my lips. This hasn't changed at all. I'm taking the number 63 lip liner from INGLOT. I don't think this technique has changed in about 5 years. And I'll just like dab a little lighter shade in the center. I still love this technique with my lips. I'll probably never change it. And I love a nude lip. Like, again, that will probably never change. I still brighten up the inner tear duct, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to take Angel Fire. I used to do it, and I still do it now. Lashes have definitely changed for me. I like something a little bit more natural now. I don't know if you can even see them, but they're just like a lot more of a natural lash. I think these are actually from Catrice. And then I love a big lash. Like, I still love a big lash. I have one here from... This is from Pennies. I love big lashes, but every single day and day to day I don't really wear them. They would be definitely for more special occasions, but I still love those big lashes. Why is it that more natural lash is doing me dirty today? It will not stick down properly. It looks like a hot mess. Please ignore that bloody eye because it just looks awful. Anyway, guys, that is my how I used to do my makeup versus how I do my makeup now. So I thought I'd show you this up close. So this lash is just not sitting right. This is just a holy mess. It's really bad because I was like, this is how I do my makeup now. Yeah, well, like wonky lashes. I don't know why it's not sitting properly on my eye. This is how I used to. And how I do it now. So which side do you guys prefer? Like, a lot of the techniques from how I used to do my makeup, I still implement from time to time, particularly my eye. I still would wear like a black wing like this, but I just don't wear them as frequently. But the face makeup will never change. I do this whether I'm going out, going for dinner. This is just how I do my base makeup now. I won't change, and I will not go back to this and the stronger contour and the highlight. No way. I just don't like it at all. I hope you found this video fun, interesting. I really did taking a trip down memory lane how I used to do my makeup, and I could never do my makeup this way now, particularly the base. The eyes, I don't really mind. I'll change them up from time to time depending on my mood, because I mean, if you can't like do fun things with your eyes, I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's just makeup. If you do your makeup like this, I'm not trying to offend you. That's good for you and it works for you, great. This is just how I'm doing it. I'm not saying that I'll never go back to doing my makeup like this. I could change my makeup next week and start doing it like this. Which one do you prefer? Which way do you do your makeup? Or what techniques did you used to do and you don't do anymore? I'd love to hear it. And if you guys would like to subscribe, definitely do. Subscribe, definitely do. And if you like this video, thumbs it up. And requests are always welcome. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you very soon. Mwah! Bye!